I am determined to live the second half of my life feeling more fit and fabulous than I did the first half.
Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome back to Abby's Kitchen. You guys know I love a good what I eat a day for some recipe inspo. And what better place to look than Dani Spies, who's the founder of the amazing blog Clean and Delicious. And even though you guys know how I feel about the descriptor clean, I am 100% here for the delicious. And I'm obviously absolutely here for protein. And if you're looking for a delicious, convenient way to up your protein game, you can definitely hit up my description to try my new 2-in-1 probiotic protein powder, New Theory. Okay, I wanna take a second to talk about my sponsor, Nourish, which I am so excited and proud to be working with. As a dietitian myself, I obviously love to advocate for getting one-on-one RD support over following some random advice from an influencer online. But I also get that it can be a bit of a chase to find an RD who can accept your unique insurance plan. But Nourish is really the easiest way to find a registered dietitian and get it covered by your insurance. They accept hundreds of insurance plans in all 50 US states, so 94% of their patients pay $0 out of pocket. They also have RDs who specialize in a variety of different health concerns, from weight management to eating disorders to gut health, diabetes, and so much more. And this one-on-one individualized support is so important for sustainable changes. You're not just following a random influencer's one-size-fits-all plan, you are getting personalized nutrition advice that will work for you and your life. Nourish is also all online, so you can see your dietitian from the comfort of your own home. So if you're looking to get one-on-one RD support and to have it covered effortlessly by your insurance plan, go to usenourish.com/Abby to find a great RD fit for you. Okay, let's get into it.
Each of my meals, I'm aiming for about 30 grams of protein. I've tried 3 meals a day, I've tried 4 meals a day, and right now I'm playing around with 5 smaller meals a day.
I love this. And if you guys are thinking like, holy shit, 30 grams times 5 meals, that's 150 grams of protein. Isn't that like way too much? Honestly, no. As Dani says in her introduction, she is trying to up her protein game here because at almost 50, she has a goal to improve her physical fitness. And obviously protein is going to be extra important as we age and lose that metabolic muscle mass. And as this systematic review found, optimal muscle mass gains come at around 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram per day of protein intake. So that's around 0.75 to 1 grams per pound of body weight. So 150 grams likely does put us perfectly within that zone. Now later in this video, she does mention that on this random day, she ate around 140 grams of protein and 1,600 calories, which is around 35% of calories from protein. So definitely at the top end of what I typically would recommend in terms of percentage of total calories. Normally, I would recommend somewhere between 20 to 30%, but this would just generally mean that you would have to be more intentional about all of your meals and snacks. And as long as it didn't completely displace other important nutrients, I really don't see a lot of harm, especially if this is going to help her feel more satiated and meet her fitness goals. Now, when it comes to how many meals a day is best, the research also doesn't really have a direct answer. One randomized control trial looked at 2 groups of women. Half of them had 3 meals in the day, and the other half had 6 meals in the day. All of the women had the same amount of calories and macronutrient distribution, and the researchers found no difference in weight loss outcomes by the end. Another review found no significant benefits to low or high meal frequency. But what about protein timing? Well, there was a recent study that really made a splash because it seemed to kind of contradict everything we know about protein timing and utilization. So generally, most of our research has shown that we can only efficiently utilize a certain amount of protein at one time for muscle protein synthesis. So that's around 0.4 grams per kilogram per meal, or in the neighborhood of 25 to 35 grams per sitting. But in this study, they demonstrated that when they gave a whole 100 grams of protein in one go, versus 25 grams, the participants given the bigger dose had more sustained, longer duration muscle protein synthesis. Now, that doesn't mean that eating 100 grams of protein in one meal is better than 4 meals of 25 grams of protein. In fact, when I spoke to my colleague Eric Williamson, who's actually friends with the author of this new study, he said that what this study suggests is that total protein matters the most, but spreading it out still is likely advantageous. And having that 25 to 35 grams of protein at each meal has a ton of other important benefits for blood sugar management, energy levels, satiety, etc. So this is definitely a dietitian approved plan. But let's see the meals.
But before I even pour my coffee, I do pour myself a large glass of lemon water. As a matter of fact, I personally find drinking water to be a little bit tricky. So I have this large gallon container that I fill every night before I go to bed. And then I drink from this container all throughout the day because it just helps me keep track of how much I'm drinking. And no, I very rarely drink the whole gallon. As for my beloved coffee, I brew a nice large mug of coffee and then I add 1 scoop of collagen, which adds 15 grams of protein to the coffee, along with 1 scoop of creatine. And then I top that with a couple of tablespoons of steamed half and half. And then right over the top, I'll do a little bit of fresh grated nutmeg or sometimes cinnamon. Just depends on my mood.
I love when people drink lemon water just because they find it a pleasant way to drink water and not because it has some insane, monumental, magical superpowers. As for the coffee, I actually did a whole video on creatine, which you can watch right here. But creatine is actually one of the most studied supplements out there. And I'm very happy to say that it is both safe and an evidence-based way for women to improve their gains. All but one study in this 2021 review of studies that specifically tested the effects of creatine on women observed faster improvements in strength, exercise performance, and sprinting time. Creatine can also help significantly increase lean body mass in folks who are completely new to exercise. And while generally some exercise is kind of required to see those gains, in older adults, creatine has actually been shown to help improve strength even without doing any exercise. So yeah, I think this is a great little coffee stack.
I have the second half of my meal. All I do is I toast up half of a sprouted raisin English muffin, and then I top that with a little bit of mashed avocado, a slice of turkey, and then I'll put an egg right over the top.
Okay, I need to try a breakfast sandwich on raisin bread. I am like a full-blown sweet salty girl, and this looks amazing. And it's a really awesome balanced breakfast too. We got fiber from the muffin and the avocado, heart-healthy fats from the avocado, and protein in the turkey and egg. I also love sprouted grain myself because we know that sprouting grains can increase the nutrient bioavailability.
It's my semi-homemade protein pancake, and I just combine some pancake mix, protein powder, a little bit of cinnamon, some baking soda, and a tiny bit of fiber powder. So they're all prepped and ready to go. And then I'll just grab a jar. I pour in some liquid egg whites, mix that together really well, and then just pour this into a pan, just like you would if you were making regular pancakes. Then I like to top this with some peanut butter powder. It's kind of just like dehydrated peanut butter. So I'll just spread that right over the top of the pancake. Then I sprinkle on some fresh berries, and I'm gonna tell you, it is absolutely delicious.
Okay, mind blown. I am obsessed with this life hack here. Now, obviously, I think there's probably some room for some healthy fats if you want to use regular peanut butter. But again, Dani's primary goal is protein. And if we compare 32 grams of natural peanut butter with 32 grams of powdered peanut butter, the powdered has 15 grams of protein compared to the 8 in the natural. And this makes sense because the powdered peanut butter is basically like peanut protein powder, right? It's had most of the fat removed. So if you were looking to increase your protein intake, this could be a good choice to help you kind of like pack in the protein without feeling overstuffed. I have both regular and powdered on hand in my pantry. I use the regular mainly for like putting on toast or like drizzling on my oatmeal, adding in those healthy fats. And I like to use a little bit of the powdered peanut butter to mix with my chocolate protein powder if I want like a PB and chocolate kind of flavor. Also, I know that powdered peanut butter might be seen as like a diet food to some, but diet culture does not own certain foods. It's really all about your mindset when you choose them. But other ideas to kind of amp up the healthy fats here would be to add in some hemp hearts or some ground flax, or top it off with some sliced toasted nuts.
This is essentially an egg and vegetable casserole, right? It's layered with eggs and spinach and mushrooms and onions and feta cheese. And then I stir some cottage cheese into the mix as well, because not only is this an easy way to bump up the protein, but it's actually delicious. It makes a really creamy, fluffy texture. Then when I eat it, I add a big fat dollop of Greek yogurt over the top. Yes, another way to get protein, but also delicious. A little bit of hot sauce. And then I'm just gonna chop up an apple and eat that alongside.
This reminds me of the days when I was pumping out recipes on my blog and for the Mindful Glow cookbook. We always had the best lunches in the middle of the workday versus now when I'm like making a meal out of leftovers and scraps. But this is great. And I love that we're adding cottage cheese in here. It's always been one of my favorite little hacks for any of my egg dishes. It's just a great, easy way to kind of amp up the nutrition and protein, since cottage cheese has a whopping 25 grams of protein per cup. So I just like throw it in when I'm making scrambled eggs as well. And the toppers are great here too. Like, in fact, building up your healthy condiments arsenal was actually one of my tips that I shared in my weight loss hacks video right here. But I just feel like satisfaction and flavor are so important. And hot sauce is like basically a must with eggs. This is like a curry hot sauce ketchup, and oh my gosh, on eggs, the only way I'll do it. So, so good.
Oftentimes I am packing my dinner and watching a baseball game or running around like an Uber driver. And so I just pack my meal with me.
I have started my era of meals on the field, as I like to call them. So I'm definitely keen to get more ideas because admittedly, we just usually pick up pizza most of the time.
So I start with some roasted kabocha squash. And then on top of that, I add some simply steamed green beans. I add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of garlic powder. Then on top of that, I add some shredded chicken. Then to top this off, I just scoop out about a half of an avocado. And then I put a big dollop of kimchi over the top.
Okay, this meal is meal prep perfection. We got fiber in the squash and the beans, protein in the chicken, and healthy fats in the avocado. And the kimchi is like a great little flavor booster with benefits. It just seasons the whole bowl and lightly dresses it. So yeah, I love this. I love this. Plus, research shows that fermented foods like kimchi may play a role in reducing cancer risk and supporting skin, brain, and immune health. So yeah, definitely stealing this hack.
While I am very health oriented, and I am, my food needs to taste good.
You guys know one of my favorite mottos is healthy is only healthy if you actually eat it. Chicken breast, broccoli, and rice is a perfectly healthy, dietitian approved meal, yes, but if it's gonna be boring as fuck, you're gonna go on a satisfaction hunt after dinner. I have foods that I know are healthy for me that I do not eat. Quinoa, for example, it's like the most dietitian-y food ever, and I don't like quinoa, so I don't eat quinoa. So no matter how determined you are to stick to your healthy eating plan, be intentional about adding in meals and snacks that you genuinely enjoy, because that is really the key to sustainable long-term changes.
Once we are all home, my kids are usually hungry at this point. I'm usually ready for a little snack as well. Lately, I have been making this savory snack plate. I'll start with a small bowl of popcorn. I'll put that on my plate. Then I add up a few fresh cut vegetables. Today, I'm using bell peppers and some cucumbers. Then I'm gonna add a nice big scoop of hummus. And then because we gotta pack in that last bit of protein for the day, I'm going to add a few cut rolls of turkey. I just take turkey, organic turkey slices, roll them up, cut them in half, put those on the plate, and then a few pickles for a nice tangy crunch.
Okay, this is a great little snack plate with fiber, fat, and protein. Awesome for satiety and for stabilizing blood sugars overnight. And if you want to do like a communal version, I feel like that would be really great for sharing as well. I also love the significance of this snack in the day. Yes, we eat to fuel our bodies, but we also eat in response to emotions and social connection. And this hour of practice is likely one of the only times in the day that everyone in the family can kind of get together to catch up. And research does show that people who regularly engage in social eating are happier, have higher life satisfaction, and build stronger relationships. Right now, I eat my popcorn at the end of the night in that corner by myself while I watch Eras Tour clips on TikTok. But I definitely do look forward to the day that my boys are awake to join me.
And I know for myself, it really helps me to make the plate, right? Because if I just took the bag of popcorn out or I just took the container of hummus out, I would definitely eat more. I just would.
As much as I love the benefits of social eating, mindful eating is also very important. And these two things can work together. I actually talk a bit more about some other great mindful eating hacks in my video right here, but putting a portion of food on a plate helps prevent mindlessly eating through an entire bag, which is particularly easy to do when you're talking or watching something or otherwise distracted. If you have a history of dieting, it is very easy to associate an empty bag with physical satisfaction instead of tuning into your innate body cues. So I always recommend enjoying your snacks from a plate or a bowl where possible. And if you finish what's on your plate, you take a pause to check in with your body and ask yourself, are you still hungry? Are you unsatisfied? And that is your cue to go in for more. So that kind of brings us to the end of Dani's Day of Eats. And I'm honestly so relieved to see another content creator sharing such delicious and positive content. I didn't see this kick off with a big body check. I didn't see her sharing her what I eat in a day as a prescription. She's just sharing her life as a mom and how she's nourishing her body. And now I got a boatload of new recipes to try now. So definitely thank you, Dani, for all of the inspiration. You can check out Dani's blog, cleananddelicious.com, and leave me a comment on who I should review next. And I'll see you next time, guys, on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.